Suck my ass, this is Stiff Oddcast. I knew the Pepsi guy at Kroger.
Thank you, kind gents and ladies, for listening to this Stiff Oddcast, September 18th edition. We're here with Bret McDowell. Bret McDowell,
Hey,
what
man.
is Stiff Entertainment?
Stiff Entertainment is the name given to audio and video entertainment that we have produced with our core friends for a decade or more. And sometimes, peripheral, transient friends as well have been involved. So it's just a catch-all for our audio and our visual output.
Okay. And let's say it lasted roughly...
You talking about it active with the core members?
Yeah.
Yeah, about 4 years. 4 years.
4.5 years or so, yeah. And the core members are, as no particular order.
It's Philip Morgan, J.D. Morgan, Dusty Willis, and Bret McDowell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still going on with the Stiff Archives and our audio. We also have Escape the Rain under that umbrella and the Post Effect as well. So, Bret, where are we now? Can you... how are you feeling today? How are you feeling?
How am I feeling, man? I'm feeling pretty good at this particular couple of weeks span. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling above midline.
Above midline, yeah. God, yeah, I'm floating just below that. I think not doing well at all, but not doing terrible as some would say. I guess
It could be a lot worse.
You got stressors, dog.
We
Yeah,
get to do this.
Lots of
which is cool.
stressors. This is the only time I ever really get to chill. Is this, and if I drink a cold beer, and that's about it. And I'm not using alcohol as a crutch. I'm just saying I'm a dude at this age. A cold beer makes me chill sometimes.
There's nothing wrong with the cold beer. Last time I checked, even God himself or herself will come down occasionally and say, "Check out this craft beer shit."
Man,
dude."
and I'm gonna drop some science related to this, man. I read an article and listened to a podcast from a guy who he's a military consultant type of cat. He's retired Army now, but he worked with PTSD research and stuff, and he was saying why it's so effective to hand someone a cup of water after a traumatic event is because your brain recognizes I've stopped and I'm able to have a drink, so I must be okay.
Right.
Because when your sympathetic nervous system kicks in and your fight or flight kicks in, you stop using all of that kind of crap.
Do you think that correlates with the modern human's oral fixation?
I have no idea, man.
I think that's
because
very interesting.
Because it's just like, man, I need a cigarette or I need a drink.
Yeah,
all these, involve. It's not like I need to sit down on a dildo and have something in my ass. You need something in your mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
In a rude way is what I'm saying here. It's like...
Well, the cigarettes, it might just have to do with, mindfulness.
Right.
You're sitting there and you're focused on your breathing. That's what meditation is, you're just
controlling
focused on
your
your
pulse
breathing.
and your breathing.
Like with the sip of water, when you go into your fight or flight, none of that digestive stuff keeps going on. You know what I'm saying? Everything is geared towards kicking ass or hauling ass. So when you take the sip of water, you go back into that digestive mode a little bit. Your brain's thinking, well, it's cool enough for me to sit here and relax. And then now moving into the beer, they also talked about, and this is interesting, how our soldiers fighting now, they're missing the campfire cool down that they used to have in the olden days. You'd have a battle, it'd be horrific, you'd been
chopping motherfuckers up
all day, your friends are dead,
Yeah.
and you'd come back to the campfire, you'd have the drink, and everybody would talk about it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, that's totally not... Yeah, that's not even a thing now.
Maybe that's
what I'm saying.
Dahmer needed was a little bonfire.
Yeah, so the Canadian Army, when they have the lowest problems with soldiers returning from combat because they stop them at some beautiful resort
Right.
for a week or two.
Yeah.
And let them unwind before they reintroduce them to their homes.
Wow.
That makes so much sense. Seems like... And also, Canada doesn't have a problem with money that we know of. So what the fuck are we doing?
I don't know. So the Canadians get to, after their deployments, they come back to Canada. They stop off at just the loveliest part of Canada. They spend a week or two in a resort, and they can relax and talk to the other people about what happened and shit. And then they're cool, and they come home.
That would keep.
Nice.
I can see that keeping a lot of people civilized.
So that was just a ridiculously long way of saying that a cold beer is just a way of
Confirming
of being able to
To-
chill out and to talk about your problems without the emotional presence.
Right.
Because that's the key to recovery. So I'm told. Neurons that fire together wire together.
Yep.
They're
You know what I'm
bonded.
saying?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Is it a covalent or a ionic bond?
Fuck, I don't know, man. But that's
We'll
what
ask questions like
That's
this
the
on the
shit I'm
Stiff
going through right
Oddcast.
now.
neurons that fire together wire together. That's why practice makes perfect, and that's why dwelling on bad shit just makes it worse.
See, what gets me is I understand that, but for some reason I don't know if I'm just I think too much. I think too much about cutting that tie, which
Right.
makes me think about the whole situation like coupled together. If that
Right.
makes any sense. I think about cutting off too much,
Right.
which makes me think about the situation. It's
Listen,
like
man. Oh, now you're opening up some shit right there.
Actually, it would be unhealthy for you to not even think negatively, period. The extreme of that, the antithesis to that is just as destructive and counterproductive to your survival. Because if you're surrounded by a bunch of bad things and there's nothing done about it, or you're not motivated because you've been kind of desensitized by cutting off that part of the investment of the reality that you're living in, that kind of thing. If you excluded all negative activity through your life, you know, you're liable to get a baseball bat in the back of the head and didn't expect it coming, you know.
Yes, that's a modern issue, man.
Yeah.
And what is it? Was it Mark Twain that said, "I have experienced," and this is a totally botched version of this, but I've experienced many tragedies in my day. Some of them actually happened. You know,
Yeah.
where he's
Yeah.
just,
Right,
you know what I
right.
mean?
yeah,
But you was talking about dwelling on that and trying too hard to wrangle that.
yeah.
Because I read a lot about that mindfulness and the Eastern stuff and the Zen and all that. So let me bust out this Zen,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
this Zen story. All right, the student comes up to the Zen master and he's like, "Seafood, how long until I attain enlightenment?" And the seafood just says, "A week." And so the guy comes back. He says, What if I try hard? You know, what if I put in a lot of effort? Then the seafood says, 3 months. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And the student asks again. He says, what if I just, I focus on it so hard, I dedicate all my time to it. How long is it going to take? And he says a year. A psychologist will tell you that the harder you try to wrangle that stuff and control it, the worse it's going to be. One of the very first things they teach you about anxiety or whatever in these types of books and things is that you got to accept that you're experiencing anxiety, that it's a normal reaction.
Stiff Oddcast is Bret McDowell.
I'm saying somebody out there has a legitimate reason to be hoping for death today.
Yeah, it sucks. But.
And we are back with the Stiff Outcast with Bret McDowell. Bret McDowell, we was talking about cutting ties with anxiety and I guess in a roundabout way, meditation. Meditation, did that play a big role for you in your first, I guess, performance in a Stiff movie as Egyptian magician? Can you explain that?
Nope. It had nothing at all to do with it, man. That was utter spontaneity. I was at that point in my life where I acted without thinking and just let it flow, and that actually ties into Zen. That's what their whole that's their whole thing that
Free
they try
flow.
to do. That's why so many of their stories sound utterly ridiculous.
Right.
Like there's another one where the student says, "Master, what is the Buddha?" And he says, 10 pounds of flax.
Huh.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I know a lot of people try to deconstruct what that's actually supposed to mean,
Yeah.
but actually really doesn't mean that much of
Exactly.
anything.
That's the whole point.
I think that
Yeah.
was Andy Warhol's whole existence. Although I don't think anyone should ever pay like $1 million for his painting, but he's like, look, here's a soup can.
See, I wrote this piece about enlightenment and how enlightenment is either. I don't see it as a complete positive or negative. Actually, I see it more as a negative. Enlightenment is terrible, just because if this is what it is, it kills you inside. Knowing this is what enlightenment is.
It's actually, yeah, I mean, part of enlightenment is when you see the world for what it really is and it's utterly destroying. And then you move on from that at some point. But it actually
Good
has
luck with that
it
shit,
actually
bro.
has a name.
Because the whole point is, I guess in Buddhism is life is suffering. Yeah, so that's why that dude basically went to a barn and stood in weird positions for the longest time to see if you can find the true form to stand in and all
Right.
that. And life is suffering, and yeah, so I guess my enlightenment is suffering, goes with that dark horse kind of Buddhist kind of
It's
deal. I
cool
guess.
that Buddhism embraced like just. I guess some people might see it as selfish, but behavior where you're just like at peace with.
Yeah, it's kind of nihilistic, man. I mean, I'm going to drop this in here with some Bruce Lee crap, and then we can talk about real life nonsense, all right? And this is what we were talking about earlier. Bruce Lee talks about the 3 stages of cultivation. In the first stage, you're just utterly spontaneous. You got no technique. You just let it flow from your heart. And
Right.
In the second stage, you learn the techniques, and then you get kind of focused on them, and everything is robotic and technical. And then in the third stage of cultivation, you bring them together, right? So when
Yes.
we first started shooting our videos and stuff, I
Yeah.
was absolutely and utterly in the first stage of cultivation. And it actually, I was far more enlightened then as a kid, doing whatever I wanted, not giving no fucks, than I am today, having read all this bullshit and just flooded my mind with it.
Yes, thinking too much.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
I mean, mine too, bro.
And that's why I
Bruh.
think sometimes alcoholism pops in.
Yeah,
Just
because it's
because-
like, stop thinking.
Slow the fuck down.
Yeah.
But yeah, because Stiff Entertainment was basically a YouTube channel in the early 2000s.
Basically.
Before YouTube, yeah.
And it was a pain in the ass to edit all those things
Yeah.
on the cassette, We used film, basically.
Well, I learned how to edit through doing that stuff and got really good.
I got decent.
Because
and
you
then-
appreciate a little program that has a little bit of a better process to it.
Yeah.
Because when you start from the bottom shit barrel,
Oh my god.
anything that has like easy effects interface,
Yeah.
it feels so good.
But I wanted to bring some trivia here, so I was actually researching home video. In the early 60s, MPEX put out the first home video recording system. So I got 3 numbers for y'all. Okay, the number 1, the number 100, and the number 30,000. One of those is the amount of units sold. One of those is the weight in pounds of the unit. And the other one is the cost in U.S. dollars. So here in a minute, we'll come back to that, and I'll let y'all
All right.
know the answer to that question.
All right.
But so we kind of got involved with filming the home videos. Who are we marketing to?
Us.
Exactly. No. Like even if YouTube had been there, would we have even cared?
I don't know, dude.
In a way, I don't know. But there's just some stuff that are in these movies that are just like...
Ridiculous.
It had to be edited, though.
They had to, but
We didn't... I mean, we cut shit, but nothing,
And
really.
it was what we were doing was we were hanging out on camera and trying to make each other laugh, and that's the long and short of it, because it's Genesis is Alan and Philip
Yeah.
as kids,
yeah.
and then the little brothers Casey and JD become involved. It starts out with audio tapes, and then it grows into film. When film becomes something that everyone can have,
Man.
Yeah.
The scene in particular, it's funny when Bret his first appearance with us was we was sitting on a trailer that was parked out somewhere.
It was in
front
the
of our
backyard,
house.
yeah.
I don't know what it was for. Actually, I think it was hauling junk or something in the old house. That sounded like a
I
cat.
totally did.
So anyway, they had this trailer parked out, and we were filming a scene where I'm playing paintball. Was it paintball then?
No. Wait. You're talking about the Egyptian magician?
Yeah,
and his
yeah.
sidekick?
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
Oh, was I Urban Turban?
You were Urban Turban. That's
Yes.
Urban Turban, and Bret was playing the Egyptian magician.
Right.
Anyway, there's a scene where we're getting ready to do a walk away into the fade, I think is what happened. A spider had actually gotten on Bret, and I can tell it was like for real. But what was so funny is he kept his accent so well
He's
for
like,
a
what
while.
the fuck was that?
And then, and then he dropped his character. And he was like,
He ran off.
he said something.
Interesting story
And
about
it was so funny,
that
man.
spider was actually underneath a shovel, and that shovel was moved that day against the side of the trailer, and actually a wood spider laid eggs there,
Yeah.
and a fucking like behind the shovel. So like 20, I don't know, maybe like 20 wood spiders came out from behind that shovel. I wrote a short story about that in sophomore year and got a C on it.
So that spider got a lot of fucking attention.
Yes,
That's
he did.
that's the kind of stuff I like to hear on the podcast.
Yeah.
Those
But that moment, God, man, and people need to understand how painful a VCR is to use, to edit. And
See, now I wasn't much involved. You guys were doing most of the editing.
oh
at
my
that point.
God, dude!
I became involved with Windows Movie Maker. That's when I got.
Right. Well, luckily you came in time. We were still like
Anyone that does that did home recording with cassettes, every time you dub, you denature the quality of the film.
the tape goes down in quality.
Um,
Man,
but, so we got handheld cameras. I mean, I was looking toward the future. I wanted to be a filmmaker. So when I kind of looked at it from that perspective at times, and I guess it was practice for me. But in general, it was like I said earlier, man. We were just kind of filming each other, making each other laugh.
Yeah.
We never really thought about how we were going to release this stuff or whatever, because again, there's no YouTube.
right.
We're not concerned with like all the kids are today with becoming YouTube famous because
For
we
us.
enjoyed it, man.
Yeah.
And I did it like we did it every day.
Yeah.
Whether we got together or we didn't. Dusty and I lived next together. You guys lived together.
Yeah.
It's I think I've said this in the older Oddcasts, but at the time, it seems like filming to me was like that the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden. It was like the greatest drug I think of that I've ever did. Besides caffeine. It was an addiction.
Right.
It's just like something like we can always get better at it, and laughing is just the best medicine sometimes.
Dusty came in a year after Bret came in, I think, or maybe 6.5 months. I'm not sure, but there's a lot of Dusty on the cut I have of the last thing we filmed with Philip and JD in full, which was Pencil Sharpener Death Machine Uno, which was a prequel to the film that we made in 2001.
Yeah. It was marred because we tried to film at night, and that was a terrible idea.
And the audio, but there is some funny shit on there.
Is that the one with the cocktail sauce?
Yeah, he claims
still-
hates cocktail
He still
sauce
has a
because of
diversion
that.
towards it. Yeah.
But in short, Dusty had to use cocktail sauce instead of proper fake blood.
We didn't
Yep.
we had fake blood. We tried it. We used to make contraptions, and we test filmed them at Philip and JD's when we was filming Citrus Fruit. We were like, we should do these ridiculous scenes where, a character gets punched in the mouth and all this shit comes flying out of their mouth. And I remember Dad had a hose, like a water pump, and he put some food coloring into some water. We tried it and didn't show up on the film at all. It just looked like water shooting out of someone's
You were saying
armpit.
Dusty getting involved. A short and interesting story about Dusty and I. We hated each other when we first met. He came to Drakesville Elementary in 6th grade, because they lived over here or whatever, and we were like arch rivals. And then one day I'm shooting hoops in the driveway, and Dusty rolls down the street on his bike, because unknown to me at the time, I believe, he lived right down the road. And he told me that his friends were planning to jump me. Like, for whatever reason, he felt it in his heart that he needed to warn me that his people were going to come and try and kick my ass. Like, next thing you know, we're jumping on a trampoline together, and then Kids WB happens shortly after that.
Nice.
Kids WB, for the uninitiated, was Dusty and I's first adventures into music making.
It was somewhere in between Wesley Willis and Daft Punk.
Yes, again, we had no skills, but we didn't care, and we were just recording for the fun of it. And those still exist.
Yeah.
Those, most of those tapes, except for the second one.
Yeah, I know. And I had a decent compilation too, dude, on a disc. Did I give it to you? I don't know. I made a
Yes, yeah,
compilation.
it's on my computer. It's on my computer. Yeah.
And then I lost it, man. I need to get hold of that.
So, this is when three sets of tag teams approached.
Right.
We had the Bret and Dusty combo. Then we
Yeah.
had the Philip and Allen combo. Then we had the Casey and JD combo.
Exactly. And each of them, we're feeding off of our dynamic duo partner, and then we're getting together. We're having the group sex together, and then all those ideas are what we would end up filming and whatnot.
Sometimes I think that was probably the best days of my life. Ignorance is bliss. At that time, there's really no bullshit between any of us. No one
Right.
had bullshit going on. It was just I don't know, a child's laughter is something that I love, and it seems like that was the embodiment of that.
More.
Well, maybe, hopefully, these kids now have that technology right in their freaking hand. Maybe
Yeah, man.
they get to experience that kind of thing,
Right. I don't know,
Hopefully.
it's different now, man. Because now it's the Vines and the Instagram, and there are aspiring filmmakers that you'll see on YouTube.
There's some good ones.
And things have become a lot more legit. But these people are all so much more success oriented, I guess, versus we were just having a good time.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just, I don't know, we come from the fun side of filming. But God, I just hated that realization. It was like, man, we know how great it would be to be in the entertainment business.
Right.
And the realization that maybe it's just not going to work.
Right.
That was a tough pill to swallow.
No, okay, so what are you saying? Like, from my perspective...
I'm talking about making it, quote-unquote, success.
Okay, well, let's go individual here. Casey, we were filming these videos. Where did you want that to go?
I wanted it to be a cohesive unit that lasted a long time, a while, and maybe I wanted to entertain in front of other people instead of ourselves, because everyone wants to do what they love for the rest of their life,
Right.
and have a little bit of something to show for it. That was it.
It might might sound cliche, but what really motivated us to keep filming, I think, mainly, I guess, me, Casey, Philip, JD, was Kevin Smith. And,
and
we can't deny the influence of Clerks and knowing that he had this whole universe that he was conceiving in his films. We fucking fell in love with that whole idea. And those films, weren't very, action oriented and stuff, but it was funny and entertaining, told a good story, good dialogue, just character development. I think that's what pushed us to keep doing stuff.
So you wanted to start making
Like an
marketable
indie
short
thing,
films
yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And I kind of was feeling the same way. I keep repeating that we were doing it for fun, but I was an aspiring filmmaker. That's what I wanted to be. That was what I went to college originally to do. And so I wanted, I definitely wanted to put out something at some point that might get us noticed or whatever.
I think it was a timing issue. I think if we had the technology we have now, it would have been way different.
But I mean, no excuses, really.
Yeah.
And to segue into the next segment, what we really became more involved with was music at some point.
Music was always...
And that was so much more of a, quote, serious, unquote, endeavor. And we put a lot more actual effort into that and had greater direction than we did with the films and stuff. So let's talk about that.
Yes, I think we should just, before we talk about that, I think we should take a small break. I'm going to resettle. I actually got to drain the lizard. We'll be right back with the Stiff Oddcast, the Bret McDowell.
No, you don't need segues. I know that when a man receives a decent blowjob, the gun in the mouth thing does kind of slip.
1, 2, 3.
And we are back with the Stiff Oddcast with Bret McDowell. At the tail end of that, we started to talk about how music kind of became the predominant form of, I guess, entertainment and our hobby. Bret, would you like to elaborate on that?
First of all, let's go back before we move on from the film. All right. In the early 60s, this home video recorder becomes available. Okay?
What was the numbers? See, I already got...
Here are the numbers. 1, 130,000. One of them is the weight of the unit, one of them is a unit sold, and one of them is the cost in U.S. dollars.
Okay, I figured it out.
Okay.
It's one camera that weighs 100 pounds for whatever X amount, what that was.
$30,000?
$30,000.
So you're saying that they sold one unit
Yes.
of a home recording piece of equipment that weighs 100 pounds
Yes.
for $30,000.
Yes.
Alan? Is that,
I also agree.
that,
I think
is,
so.
That is correct.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Ampex, actually, you should, read about them. They made a lot of breakthroughs in audio recording, and they have kind of an interesting history. So.
Yeah.
All right. What was that
Nice.
question about music again?
Oh, yes. Bringing it back around town. We was touching base with the music transition. I was asking you, at what point do you think that I know when Al and I jumped in, we was in the game for about almost a year
Right.
doing the music thing. What was the point where you jumped in, or when you jumped in and this became the primary source of entertainment for you?
Well, it was sharing the spotlight when we were still filming and everything because of Kids WB. Now, when I started
Kids
actually
WB.
trying to learn how to play the instrument and everything, I'm not sure exactly when that was. I want to say that you were in Pumpkin Bomb, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
at the time.
Alan had been playing with Apollo and
Summer section drowning.
Summer Section Drowning. Dusty had learned power chords.
Yes.
And I'm still just utterly unschooled at that time. So, at some point, Alan showed me some things on guitar. I did a little bit of self-learning, and I took a lesson, multiple lessons from a guy in Central City, where all I really took away from that was the pentatonic scale, which is absolutely invaluable to me. And
Oh God, yeah,
I mean,
yes. Once you
okay.
learn that, you can just fucking figure
Right.
it out.
And I was actually able to start contributing to stuff, and that began with Escape the Rain, right?
Yes,
Say so.
That was late 2004, right?
Yeah.
So you, Dusty, and Alan know how to play, and you've had some experience, and then I'm able to bring something to the table at last, and that's when we create Escape the Rain.
Yeah. And Bob was just playing with Josh and
Yeah, McKinnon.
Byron
Yeah.
and McKinnon. And I was just shocked that he was playing drums, like I mentioned before. And then, yeah, I didn't think it was going to happen that.
Because Escape
That
the Rain
well,
thing was
'cause
what
it
we did
was-
before any of us did any other bands. You know,
Something had happened when I was like 18 or 17 years old, and I got into Mr. Bungle, and
I remember when you
Just
brought
blew
Mr.
my
Bungle
mind.
home.
yeah, I
hearing
know.
that for the first time, holy shit!
You brought Hum. You bought
Yeah.
Hum that day, and you bought Mr. Bungle's self-titled album that day. I stayed the night, the day that you got them, and we fell asleep listening to you
Yes.
for an astronaut.
Those two albums just put a spark in my ass. Like, I've been home recording music forever at the time, but I was like, whoa, because my taste in music just wasn't one genre. And then when you hear someone like, here's all these cool genres of music, here is this ambience and all this, it just blew my mind. And then Hum's guitars are just beautiful. I don't know how it's so. I don't know. It's saturated distortion, but there's something about that caught my attention.
Where were you coming up with this shit is what I want to know. Because I have difficulty remembering what I was listening to at that time.
Yeah.
At that point in my life. Do you remember, had you heard about Mr. Bungle, or did you just see the cover? of that?
Actually, what happened was I was in the Bloodhound Gang at the time because I liked their approach, even though they're goofy as fuck. I guess by the time Hooray for Boobies came out, it was like they got that whole thing mastered. Like, well, anyway, Bloodhound Gang, All Music Guide was a burgeoning resource for music.
They have since went downhill.
Yeah,
Way
but
hard since.
they would go as far as, if you like this band, they'll give you some interesting people to check out. It's like, I never heard of fucking, what is this? And I saw the thumbnail for Mr. Bungle's first album. And the way they reviewed it and described it, I was like, man, this sounds really, really far out and interesting. Because being into the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper, like, is the key to bringing someone up to speed towards experimentation and all that stuff. So, I don't know, man.
So you found Mr. Bungle through All Music Guys search, and we bought the album at FYE?
Yes, I found it. Yeah, and I was like, what the hell? Really? All right. And then I realized that, it was Mike Patton from Faith No More, and I was like, oh, Faith No More, they had that one song. So what the fuck is going on here? Why is he doing this? I had no idea. I would never associate him doing this stuff.
It changed the game.
But, yeah.
That album changed the game.
It changed the game for me at the time as a fucking audiophile. You've heard everything a million times, and it's like you put that on, and it's like, whoa, something's happening. I don't know if I'm scared or excited.
So, to this point, you've got recordings, mostly influenced, I'd say, by like Nirvana.
Yes, Nirvana was a huge influence.
And the Beatles.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And then Bungle comes along, and you get a little more experimental, and that is more or less how we started playing stuff that would become Escape the Rain.
Well, what was interesting is whatever I would toss to you, you would toss back something that was different. That worked out for all of us.
See, Bungle's second album, Disco Volante, had the greatest influence on me, like, in the early days.
So many words come to mind when you listen to something like that, too, dude.
So we started, we started recording, and...
It's because Alan recorded an album by himself where we had guest spots on. Like, you read the Captain Underpants as an interlude.
Yeah.
Over the phone on the first Escape the Rain album. I done the song Bunny and Sign the Treaty.
And you also did you did 4 tracks.
A couple other songs. And that was Alan's basis. That was Alan's self-demo that inspired Bob when he heard it. He's like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to be in this band now. Just because this is what happened.
Right.
And that's what started the catalyst. Was us leaving our other bands over some bullshit reasons we don't need to talk about. Bob was like, I want to play drums for you guys. So let's get the team together.
I was excited.
That's how that was.
I was really excited because I know Bob as a different entity than a musician. It's like, this is great, man. Bob, I know this guy. Like, there's no weird, awkward ice-breaking moment. Like, I know him. So it worked out. And it was be perfect at the time. In case he's thinking, he's like, man, we just got to have Bret on guitar. He's got to be the guitar player with us.
See, no one knew that. I mean, shit. Bret became the all-star of the team.
Yeah.
I would get the rebounds, playing bass. Alan, would get the passing and scoring with the guitar. Dusty was the wild card from the Kids WB transition. We had a keyboard. We had to have the keyboard in the band.
That's another influence, too, that I can't ignore or deny. It was the Horse the Band thing that happened.
Oh, yeah, that was another huge influence.
Oh, my gosh. And Philip I'm going to give him full credit for turning me on to them. Because he had read on some forum, because Philip was a music encyclopedia too. Although he never played instruments, but he knew so much about music. And me and him's relationship with music is what did a lot for me too.
All of us are well versed in the band pretty much. Everyone in the band except Bret. Bret came from Kids WB to being the Michael Jordan David from Horse the Band at guitar. Because Bret was our secret weapon at the time.
Yeah. That was the secret. No one knew.
Because he brought the unique solos, and also, he played a good rhythm, but fuck, his solos blew everyone else's out the water.
And I think people dug the shit out of it.
In particular, the last ETR show we did with Bob.
Which one are we talking
The very last one we did
last show
with
we
Bob.
played with Bob.
This one's posted online? With
Yes.
Like the keyboard and stuff?
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, that goes back to me just simply not caring. And I wasn't doing it for attention. I wasn't doing it for any other reason than I was just that uninhibited and I'm just going to throw out the word nihilistic. I just was nihilistic young man. And the more absurd, the better. That's what turned me on. And
I'm totally there with you on that, though.
Shit, me too, man. It's like, if you...
I remember, actually, Alan, you would frequently get irritated because I would constantly be trying to introduce some completely discordant nonsense onto the track.
Yeah.
I remember a particular instance actually, and it's still on one of the albums. I was like, dude, I just want to go. And you're like, no, I don't think so, man. I'm like, dude, yes. And you finally put it on there, but you fucking buried it.
I had to, man.
Like John Cena's Golden Shovel, man.
Because
buried
I
that.
think you had another lead track on there, and it fit perfectly. I would hate for you to just kind of make a discordance, that
But I
would
did it live
overshadow it.
anyway.
Yeah, it worked. Like, it wasn't like it was gonna like break my heart or anything. Probably, I don't know. I wish I had the master disc to those.
Yeah,
anyways,
see, I had that
remix them.
spirit in Pumpkin Bomb, man.
Yeah.
It's like if you watch the Pumpkin Bomb shows, I just go fucking nuts on a fucking A chord. And it's not like it's a very powerful chord, but I just had no fucks were given at those times.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably universal for most of them.
Yeah, we all didn't give a fuck, basically. And plus, in the position that we were putting ourselves into,
But see,
was a little. We were already alienating at least,
well,
half
in a
of the
way,
folks.
but see, I was about to say something about this. With the home recording of our films,
Yeah.
our fan base was us.
Right.
Playing the music, we actually had a fan base.
And unfortunately, much of that is retroactive. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
most of the praise came after the fact.
Yeah, way after.
Because no one knew what the fuck was going on. We had crowds. We had lots of people play in front of us
Right.
a lot of the times. Especially at the Ag Center. They were always there, but this is like was never like someone giving us a high five. There's a couple. I had a couple. Come and just like, you guys fucking.
Okay, let me paint the picture for people that weren't around during this time. Hardcore was the big thing, and that was really all that was being played locally.
Right.
And we were, however we did it, I don't really recall, we were able to weasel our way into these shows.
Yeah.
And we were playing, well, I don't know what
Our
the hell it is.
our own style, and it was. You can call it a Mr. Bungle influence. You call it a Horse the Band influence. You can call it in a certain way, like I don't know. It's
oh man, there's innumerable influences to all that stuff. I mean,
It really took it. I can see. Like, I remember I was talking with Bob, the show we played in Paducah, where it was all these young girls. They were like 12 or 13. I was thinking, what the fuck were they thinking when they just saw that set? Because we just were doing all this
yeah,
ridiculousness.
but man, as far as the girls you're talking about here, we were the only band that had at least one or two songs that were danceable.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
We had bitches dancing to our songs.
Yeah.
We also had bitches' titties flopped
Flop-
out in our
And
sets.
I never saw those.
No, I didn't either. But
They
someone,
were there. The only thing, what I saw? I saw the end or the top of a nipple and a bra go back up. That's what I saw.
That show is like when you play in a gymnasium, everything sounds like shit, by the way. Unless you have a really nice floor monitoring system, the sound guys all, drinking his coffee, fucking working that shit. But when you're in a gymnasium and you have two loud ass amplifiers and the wash you get from like the projection and shit into the gymnasium, there was a lot of things that was like, it had to sound like shit, but the crowd was so fucking into it.
At Drakesboro?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
We had stage divers, which
People
was,
were stage
couple-
diving and tits were present.
Yeah, so
So we've done something right.
yeah, we could have retired there, but like we did it.
There you go, success. Okay, this is a question I actually had thought about earlier. Alan, how do you define success in music? Because let me just start off by saying we didn't sell a single copy of our last album that we recorded. We
I
didn't
know.
even bother to, as far as I know.
I tried
But-
so hard to
but
promote
that-
it.
But in my mind, that it was a success. Like,
Right.
I'm still proud of that album. It still has listenability. I mean, is there even a word for that? Like,
Yeah, listenability.
Dude,
Listen
I listen to it all the
ability.
time.
Right. So, what is your definition of success for music?
I don't know.
Was it important? Is it important for you to go somewhere? Are you presently trying to do that?
Nowadays, it isn't very important to do the traditional exposure thing where you're on television or you're on the radio and then all of a sudden you have a contract and all that stuff. You have to do it if you're doing it from your soul and it's something that you love to do and it's the thing that gets you through life and all that stuff. Success is just making sure it sounds good. And then if you want to pursue it as a consumer product,
Good luck.
nowadays it's a nightmare.
It's terrible. We came at the death rattle of the music industry. I'm sure all of us in this room had thoughts like, man, maybe what if we did get signed? It should be awesome, you know.
Yeah,
Right.
but I don't think we never made the efforts to. I think, in retrospect, we had marketable talent,
Yeah.
but we didn't push it.
Well,
Because
it was frustrating.
Because what happens?
Also, we were uncompromising.
And we lost drummers.
We would have been uncompromising.
Yeah.
Also, I was telling Bob about this. We really didn't we didn't know what the fuck we was doing at the time. We knew we was playing in the band, we were making music together, and we were
Right.
pushing through it. But that in of itself is such a time waster because getting anyone in a room together
Yeah.
to focus for more
Well-
than 5 minutes is a fucking miracle.
It is a miracle.
And so once you make it past that, you're still in a cloud of haze. It's like, okay, we got these shows now.
Right.
You don't really think about, what we're going to do with this.
But I think what slowed us down the most from any kind of progression towards a consumer product was we couldn't keep people drumming, like I mentioned earlier, and we kind of reinvented ourselves every time we would get another person in the band.
Right, but we were getting better.
Yeah, we kept getting better and working with experience and stuff like that.
In a way, I think the revolving doors of drummers is what made us better.
Yeah, because we know different
You know,
styles.
we had different
introduced.
people, different styles, and
Yeah.
But if we were to approach this today, okay, well, let me ask y'all. You guys have just completed an album, right?
yes,
We still.
we got some more going on.
We got all kinds of stuff.
But mainly this album was
So, I mean-
the album was focused for this summer, and we do have an album recorded from this summer. Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are y'all gonna do with that?
When the Post Effect LP happened, I was thinking and doing research about it. I was like, what, can't really sell it. Because initially, the first thought that went through my mind was I was going to save the money and take my masters to Evansville and have them pressed on vinyl. I really wanted to do that. But circumstances didn't work out where I could do that. So I went to the internet and we was on MySpace at the time. Facebook was, I guess, just a baby then, or what? I don't even know if it existed.
MySpace?
I think it was mostly collegiate
Yeah,
at that time.
and I spent
Yeah, we all seen the movie, man.
hours.
You know what I'm saying?
Books A Million. I was at the Books A Million sitting there on a laptop, just conversing with people from New York, Los Angeles, San Antonio,
Yeah, so what
the biggest cities.
What did they say?
They didn't say anything. I would, whatever. But I did send dirt to a guy who does a radio show where he's like Neil Young and Elvis Costello's on his show. He has a fro or something, and he's on Facebook. And I sent it to him, and I just gave him this hard response because I was already frustrated. I was like, "Look, dude, I'm not getting any feedback right now." And he's like, so he gave me he's like, "Yeah, it's groovy. It sounds rough, but it's really groovy, and you can probably do something with it." So that was like a positive reinforcement, but it's like then that was another losing a drummer situation.
Yeah.
We played a show and then we played we tried to play at a cafe, which was bad.
Yeah, then we went to Sam K's house.
Played
Chill Fest on that was the Post Effect show, yeah.
in Owensboro. I went to Tumbleweeds on a double date.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, the fucking waiter was like, "Hey,
You're in that band that played at Chillfest in
oh,
Greenville?
you guys are so awesome." He's like, "Dude, ever since that show, man, we had to step up for our band.
We
'cause
couldn't follow you
We couldn't
guys."
follow you guys." As far as like an ultimate fucking get laid moment, it was right there.
There.
A little bit of validation too. It was at Old Charlie's. That the dude who worked at Old Charlie's.
And about at that time, I wanted to play more shows. I was, spamming our music and everything, and
Finances.
money started happening, and then
People got married.
people, they got their lives and stuff going on. So
But the question is, what are
That
we gonna do
slowed it
with
down.
this now?
we're gonna.
Well, first of all, you were talking about the situation today, and man, I've read some studies, and I'd like to talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
That I was saying that we weren't very aggressive with, our promotion. We played a show like every quarter of a year or
Yeah.
whatever. We never we never did much beyond that. There was what was the name? What was that dude's name?
Yeah, we brought him up in the last Oddcast.
Tom,
So
I
that
think
we
it's-
okay,
we
you're
attempted
talking
it. We attempted to get some type of management.
Right.
I tried.
But so much of success today in music is
Presence.
are things other than the quality of your music, man.
Yeah.
You just perseverance, like the success stories. Any of that you read,
Right.
they come like 10 years after,
Down the road. Yeah.
like 10 years, man, because people are just having to grind and grind. So much of success in music is circumstantial.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it
Yeah.
that just has to do with chance, and all you can do is pull your dick out at the mall
Yeah.
and wait until somebody takes notice and says, I like what you got going on. And,
Right. Yeah.
Dude, I'm totally into that one.
I mean,
dick
it's
pulling out
that's a
thing you do.
generalization of it, though. It's more nuanced than that, especially with music. It's not like you have when you're marketing a movie, that's something you can see, and it's audio and visual. With music, it's just something you put in your iPod or you put in a CD player. Whoever fuck does that anymore? It's a very intangible thing. As far as like the music landscape now is, it's been overexposed. With these singing shows such as American Idol, The Voice, everything like that.
Talent shows.
It's been overexposed to the point where it seems like there's nothing behind music that's magical. But didn't you think that's kind of bums you out, doesn't it? But what makes music magical to me is the fact that I created this and your uniqueness.
Right.
But to get someone to understand or see your uniqueness, yes, you do have to flop your dick out, do something crazy, do something, Then at the same time, then you become gimmicky, and you just gotta. So that's why we still do this. Period. That's why
Right.
Al and I get up and we record. We do it just because we love it. It's a lifestyle. That's
Yeah.
why we are still at it.
Well, it's also a learning process for me, because I'll listen to an album and I'm like, holy shit, how did that happen? How did that sound like that? That sounded so good. And then you go and you experiment with what you got, and you learn stuff,
You gotta keep that. There's an atmosphere, man. You have to have an atmosphere of cultivation. That's
Yeah.
something that we had when we were recording before.
Yeah.
I could come over after school, and you would have something I could throw down on. Casey would throw down on his stuff, and we were around a lot and actively creating an atmosphere specifically.
It was ripe.
for making music. Yeah.
It was a ripe period of time, and
Because, because that goes back to what I'm saying, man. I mean, you got to grind. Like it's not just about. Now, I was talking about defining success. We recorded an album that I consider a success, and that was pleasing to me, and I'm appreciative of that. So that's like the two forms of art that we're talking about, man.
Right.
It's like some people make music for its cathartic reasons, because they're just expressing themselves and it's more personal. And then there's the entertainment side of it as well.
Very rarely there's few bands
So
that have successfully managed to do both.
that's what I'm saying. That's the trick. You've got to have a market. You've got to have your own unique thing that you're saying that's not so unique, really, because
you want it to be palatable to an audience.
people have to be able to connect to it.
Right.
So you want the trick is for you to express yourself
Right.
in a way that other people are going to respond to. And some of our stuff, man, was stuff that only we were going to respond to.
Oh, I know.
because-
To be able to work with a group of people that could do that.
Yeah.
If like that was the only moment of time I got to play
Yeah, the first album was what that was. The second album I think it's really good, but I think our best album is the Post Effect album, because that
The
was
last one, right?
yes,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
just because that is palpable and it's also us expressing ourselves.
Yeah, no, and that's the whole thing. Like, I feel like success today, I don't want to use the word compromise, but it kind of, you've got to put it out there in a way that people are going to be able to connect to it.
Right.
And,
Of course.
And that means for me to remove the discordant nonsense.
Right. Well, see, I went into that thought process when writing all the stuff I've done recently. My lyrics are now I focus a lot of time. I used to not really care too much, but when I got into Elvis Costello and went back and studied Dylan, and then constantly going back to the Beatles and listening to what they're saying exactly and what they're trying to tell you.
Right, and there's a thin like line.
Right.
Because I remember you were talking about your lyrics. You always wrote extremely ambiguous lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually remember questioning you, saying, does this actually mean anything?
And it doesn't. And that was my attitude then, because I was being
I
spiteful.
I misinterpreted a lyric to Avenue for, I don't know, I think it just got corrected this summer. It's been
And
like 8
I'm
years.
going to blame Nirvana for that. I'm going to say that's the reason why I rationalized just writing this nonsense. Because my obsession with Kurt Cobain as a middle schooler taught me everything I needed to really know about where, the music industry is or was or going and all this stuff. And the stuff, it was In Utero. The album In Utero had all these really, of course I didn't know it at the time, but at my age I just saw it as nonsense that really didn't pertain to anything particular, but it's the way he sung it and stuff seemed interesting. And I felt like I can get away with that. I'll just talk about this nonsense on this stanza or verse, and then whatever words. It's like, this sounds like an interesting group of words to say,
And there are exceptions, of course.
Yeah.
And sometimes a catchy chorus is a catchy chorus, whether you're saying
baloney.
It comes from the heart, or
Yeah.
you're saying Sanford and Son, fart.
Yeah.
Because that's how
Melodies.
see, it's like the reverse engineering of those songs, anyways.
Yeah.
It's like, because scrambled eggs is yesterday.
Yeah.
It's just like scrambled eggs. I think that song would be just as successful if he said scrambled eggs.
It'd be for one of these.
Just like I think that Kurt
farms.
Russell would have been a successful, if not a better Han Solo than Harrison Ford. I know it's blasphemous. It sounds like it, but dude, it's just like, it's the meaning behind it, the feeling of the words, whatever the feeling gives you.
But I broke the habit of writing nonsense, though, around the time we started working with Dusty as a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
I started actually thinking about what I was saying because I can hear myself now better, and it was at my own discretion. So.
But singability,
It's tough.
singability is probably of the biggest appeal for people, really.
Yeah.
I mean, people just start associating things with songs. Like,
Right.
A song will get played that summer. That's your
Right.
summer song, man.
Yeah. I think we're going to slow down, take a small break here. We're going to come back and still continue with music, and we're going to move on. This has been Stuff Oddcast. This is Bret McDowell. I was wondering, what is it can you say about the total eclipse of the heart?
I don't think there's nothing that you can say.
Hulk Hogan can eclipse your face push.
See, I don't know. I can picture my heel Hogan as taking everyone's insulin and like throwing it away so they can die slowly from diabetes.
And we return to the Stiff Oddcast with Bret, MC Do Well,
Hey, man.
and we was discussing metaphors and
We were
nonsense.
discussing way too much. Man.
There's a lot to say.
When it comes to talking about the past, we all stack the deck. you
Yeah.
know.
But the music thing, in short, the studies that I was talking about. One thing I didn't know the radio did was if they were trying to push a song, similar to like wrestling,
Yeah.
when they're trying to give somebody a push, what they'll do is they'll start playing it before or after an established hit. Hey Ya was actually really slow to catch on when it came out. I didn't realize that because I liked it right away.
Yeah, me
but
too.
the radio stations were having to push it hard. They were having to play it, whatever the hits were at the time, they were having to play it right next to it
Right.
in order to get it to work. Another thing I was reading about was that there are these companies that reach out to hundreds of thousands of people to get their ratings before a song is ever moved to radio,
Right.
before it's ever decided that they're going to give it the push. And they have become really accurate in determining what's going to be good and what's not going to be good.
Right.
They have a simple 1, 2, 3, 4, or a 1 to 4 kind of a
Right.
rating system, and they have figured out that if this control group says that it's a 3, 85% chance it's going to be a hit.
Interesting.
So man,
I want to be part of that focus group, dude.
So it's scientific, man. It's
well,
like,
I'm sure marketing science, which isn't, that's almost like pseudoscience.
it's
in
all
some
getting
cases.
real scientific, man. And you got these hit factories, these shadowed, these ninja songwriters where you look at the top 10 of last year.
It's one dude.
And you find out it's one dude in his
Yeah.
basement.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's how Babyface got famous there for a while. I guess in the mid '90s with the R&B, resurgence or whatever. Babyface was responsible for about 80% of that.
Yeah.
But you would never know it, because he'll put out an album or whatever.
Did
but
Quincy Jones start that kind of thing? Because he was the first kind of ghost producer that was...
it's kind of
have no
weird
idea.
because as far as like try to quote unquote break it into the mainstream music industry, it's just not happening.
Oh, fuck no. Unless you want to really, really cater to the lower denominator.
But we're talking about type stuff. What is your relationship to music right now, man? I mean, we're talking about a lot of different things and semi-pessimistic, I guess.
Well, it's the
Not
truth.
really. Actually, it's more observation. It's more just
Right.
factual types
Right.
of things.
Back to negativity.
It's not so much negative. It's just the way it is. It's the
It is.
It's
That's
the
the point,
natural
yeah.
evolution, and we're really running out of ideas, man. I mean, have you seen that video, 4 Chords? It's my favorite YouTube video.
I've seen that, and have you seen the guy that
Yeah.
takes one of these classical songs that he played in band, and he went ahead and did a medley of like 30 songs with the same chord structure in it?
I haven't seen it. I'll start off here, so y'all get the idea of what I'm saying, and that ties into what I was talking about, kind of running out of ideas. I have listened to so much freaking music
Yeah, we all
that,
have.
like, I'm so desensitized now. I'm not emotionally connected with the music anymore. I use it supplementary to
Right.
chores,
Background noise.
to chores or working out
Yeah.
or whatever. And very rarely am I going to sit down and listen to an album and be emotionally affected by it.
Right.
And part of that is just because, man, it's like I've heard it all before.
Right.
That's my reaction to pretty much everything. And I mean, and that goes back to the exploration that we did when we were younger, man.
Right.
Where it became who can get further in the rabbit hole.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
rabbit hole almost stopped for me when I discovered the Residents.
Dude, I mean,
And it still
Shit.
does.
Yeah, I know.
well, I mean, I ended up listening to noise, literal
Yeah.
noise.
I've heard plenty of noise
Yeah.
tracks too.
Dude, yeah, I
They're
have like
crazy.
a mixtape of static.
Yeah.
Like that it was, you know,
It's
it was,
tonal, dude.
It was like going
all
that
tonal.
obscure, man, because I was
Yeah.
so quickly bored with whatever, man.
I guess that was the
next thing
bungle.
I know, right? Next thing I know, we're listening to Japanese noise rock.
Yeah.
Then it devolves even further than that, and we're listening to Merzbow.
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, I'm seriously in my Cadillac listening to AM static, no shit, and adjusting the treble and bass to suit my
This is
fucking
interesting.
taste.
Yeah.
I'm serious, man. So,
Damn, dude.
so you go.
Hey.
I've been there. I've been very close.
So you go 10 years.
I know.
You go 10 years in the future, and it's like, I mean, what can I say? It's like this tree out here. I pass a lot of trees every day. I've seen a lot of trees, man, and I just don't care.
Oh, it's a tree. That's nice. Hey, what's up, dude? Yeah.
So-
We don't even factor it in.
So I don't know what. Yeah, as far as like
Unless it's a big tree. Like, look how big that tree is.
I don't
What's
know.
going on?
Like, I guess when I was younger, albums used to be emotionally invested in these albums. But as I got older, what I'm more emotionally invested to is the fact that these guys are so good
Right.
at what they do. Like, recent examples, I guess, sort of recent. Big Boy of Outkast. It's just really cool that he can still find something interesting
About hip hop.
and do it, and he has a unique voice.
Yeah.
And I have a more of emotional connection to him more so than the songs.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I mean, there's lots of bands and directors and stuff that I like them better
Than their
their
product.
product.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, I know about being burnt out, but I come at it from so many different perspectives. Like, there is some bands though that have put out some really good shit recently. It's like it still boggles my mind. Like, Horse the band, we could have just wrote off years ago. It's like it kept making really good versions of their music. And if you get into production and want to emulate a guitar sound, you start re-listening and listening, and the more you know, and you go back, it's kind of like any other kind of thing, you know.
Mechanical Hand. You go out in my car right now and
Yeah,
turn on the
I love that album,
CD
dude.
player. That's what's in there. But you were talking about kind of
Finding more reasons to stay involved and committed
man.
to it.
And that's just the thing, dude. A
Right.
tree is a tree, but a botanist or
Would be like,
whoever thinks
Yeah.
trees are cool, you know.
yeah.
You know.
A dendrophiliac thinks trees are cool.
So you've got to give to get, I guess is what we're saying.
Yeah.
You've got to involve yourself, and I'm at that point for whatever reason right now that I've got life going on, I guess,
Right.
and I'm not able to commit as much time to stay interested.
Well, that's normal right now for a lot of people, dude. I just so happen to have enough time to still swim in it and keep swimming and swimming.
Because I don't know if anyone has noticed it or not, but we're kind of growing up in a weird time.
Yeah,
Starting
it's a
to
strange
become
time.
adults in a weird time.
It's
I don't think it's ever been this strange. And I used to think, well, maybe it was this strange at this time. But every elder that I've ever spoke to will tell you that this is the strangest it's been.
It's like,
As far
I
as
don't
like,
know
no
what's
one knows
going
where the fuck they're going, how things are, where's it going? No one knows.
Technology is advancing frighteningly quick,
faster
too,
than
man.
we are. I don't think we're going to be able to catch up.
Like,
That's what I thought was interesting about Devo. That was her whole concept was, look at all this machinery and stuff, and we're not going anywhere. We're just goofy people with costumes on. And all this stuff. The social commentary I totally understood. But yeah, different world, different environment for a lot of people.
but I was talking about the atmosphere and stuff earlier.
Yeah,
You've got to make an effort to stay interested.
yeah. I'll go further back into music's roots and certain bands' roots and discover stuff.
Because I want to know who my heroes are.
I've
And it
always
goes, that's a
followed that
rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, the two recent albums, rock albums, everyone should listen to at least once or twice is T-Rex, Electric Warrior, and the Stooges' Funhouse.
Okay, my album right now is Death Alley by Zeke. I mean, they're just a super fast West Coast punk band. That whole album is non-stop, half an hour in your face.
Boosh! Yeah.
The rest of that shit, I ain't nobody got time for that.
But, it's just, I keep going, following the rabbit, and there's all new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Elvis Costello kept me interested in all kinds of stuff.
Oh, and Reggie Watts. We were talking about
Reggie Watts, yeah.
The last time I had any kind of reaction to a musician was Reggie Watts. That was the last time that I was pleasantly surprised by somebody.
I've seen a lot. There's a female pop singer that's very synth-oriented, that she plays these weird toy electronics and stuff, and she sings, and I forgot her name. Little Boots. She was interesting just to watch and to see something innovative. That was cool. Like Reggie Watts also discovered around the same period, so it was just like in life is going on somewhere.
Reggie Watts, man, we never talked about Bon Jovi.
That's getting online fucking now. It needs to be.
Need a backpack, not the other word.
And we were talking about ambiguity in the lyrics earlier and all that stuff.
Yeah.
When are we going to get Bon Jovi in the studio again to do that anyways?
I don't know. See, that's tough. First of all, Blazar is who knows where in the universe right now.
I can listen to the first one any time of the week, any day, and find something to laugh.
Bon Jovi, just in case anyone doesn't know, is a fictitious band from outer space.
Not all of them.
No, I mean some of them are. So, generalization. Bon Jovi is a complete other entity that's also under the stiff umbrella. They're very. That's the most avant-garde / straightforward rock band that we've ever, witnessed.
They're well versed in vegetation,
That's,
and what is it? Galactic clusters, religion.
These are those exceptions, man. Like Reggie Watts, I'm entertained as crap,
Right.
but it's all gibberish, you know. And Bon Jovi, there's something special about what we recorded, But
Yeah.
I guess it's because it's total stream of consciousness. You know?
There's nothing
good.
It's like
stopping you.
yeah. I mean, I'm reminded of like an old medical experiment. Like they tore open someone's brain and they were actually just able to see what was going on.
I'm pretty sure the most ridiculous things I've ever said in my life has been recorded on a Bon Jovi album.
Oh,
I'm
man.
pretty sure of that.
Unhindered. I was. I mean, we speak in tongues on those records.
It's kind of the audio equivalent of a person coming home.
See,
and
what
screaming
was
in
so
a pillow.
crazy, I guess it's just like any type of chaos. There's a little bit of peace at the end. Or in between, or,
The
There was-
metronomes, man.
yeah, there was a record that I think is accessible to anyone. They could listen to it. It's got Can You Feel It on it. NASCAR is also a really good song.
Digital Come Over or
Yeah,
or
I think
Three?
it was.
No,
Come
Digital
No,
Come Over is
this
my
is-
favorite album.
It's good.
I think this
That's
album is
It's Three.
Dirty Fastly is the name of
Wow.
the...
Well, that might be. We combined 2 discs to form the Digital Come Over, which was originally 2 discs, and I broke it down into 1. That's got. Yeah, 3 was kind of the run of the bunch. The second one was a live album video.
Yeah, that's a great video.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, see, that was what Brett said. That's his. You can see it. It's feeling. It's gibberish feeling.
It's don't think, feel. You know?
That kind of stuff.
It's pretty ridiculous, is what it is.
I don't know. So we're just basically contradicting everything that we just said.
Nah.
See,
part of
that's
the-
what
For the last half an hour.
kills me about being a musician, because musicians are inherently
Full of shit.
pretentious, you know? And it kills me. That's why sometimes I don't even tell people that's what I do, just because I want to sound like a fucking dick talking to them about it.
musician.
Like
He's an asshole.
Yeah, I listen to this. Oh, you listen to that, dude? That's
Oh,
cool.
that's crap.
Whatever.
I've been that guy before.
See, that's a
though.
personality disorder, man, I guess. I don't know.
It's a flaw. It's just because, when you're I guess it's just, I don't know, man. If we grew up in the 70s during the height of vinyl listening, you want to talk about some douchebags. It's like High Fidelity. Some dude comes in there, it's like, you buying that, and just throws it on the floor or cracks it over his head, and it's like, here, listen to
So,
this.
what are kids buying now? What is out now, Brett, that you know of at a flashcard style?
All right, so I got boxing class, and there are teenagers in there. Okay, the last thing that the last song mentioned, to my recollection, was "Anaconda" by Nicki Minaj.
God
Told you.
dang it, that song is fucking terrible.
But
The
that
video
ass.
is ass-licious. though.
I can't just ignore the amount of ass in that video. It's extraordinary for its marketability, I guess. That much ass in a video.
Lots, man. Okay, as best as I can see from what I'm exposed to, lots of just very attractive women with very catchy choruses.
It works.
I mean, that's what's going on right now.
It works, dude. It's a good formula.
That's absolutely
That's it.
100% everything right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, 13-year-old girls run the world, dude. That's just the bottom line.
I mean, are there still like hot dude bands and stuff?
There's no guitars
But see,
on the radio at
I
all.
know One Direction is like.
They flop, dude.
They flopped
which
ass.
which sucks
Dude, I thought
in a
they,
way.
I thought they like landed hard, man.
No, you know how he's talking about radio pushing songs?
Right.
They were a package from England they pushed and no one swallowed.
One Direction's from England?
Yeah.
Man, I thought they were either
The homegrown.
Oh, you
Yeah.
should hear them talk, dude. It's
Genetic gene
hilarious.
pool. Yeah, which is kind. I guess
It's just funny.
which is kind of sad, because I know I sound like a fucking idiot for even saying that. It's just like One Direction didn't make it, dude.
No, they
It's like-
flopped ass. They fell flat on their
Justin
butt.
Bieber held the game down for a while. You know,
So
and he
who's
pushed him out.
okay? So who are the male people right now? Do they
Robin Thicke had some
name?
success.
Oh right, okay. That was a huge song, either this year or last year.
And the Rude Guy song, the guy that sings like "Why you gotta be so rude." It's a reggae kind of song.
But the rest of
See,
it
I don't
is,
know that.
yeah, it doesn't matter.
Anyway, attractive women with catchy choruses.
Yeah.
That is the winning formula right now.
Yes. And I don't blame them for pursuing.
And talking about
Dude.
your asses.
ass is
in the
Regina
rap-
Strainer, what is her name? Strainer, Megan Strainer. You know, it's like I'm all about that bass.
Yeah.
At the bass,
Hey,
no
there you
trouble.
go. I don't know if she's attractive, but there's a catchy chorus.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah,
It's
it is
it's a
catchy.
booty oriented. You know,
It is
so that
very
booty.
ass oriented.
Sir Mix-a-Lot called it a long time ago.
Yes,
man.
he did. Dude.
All the hip hop guys, if you can call them that, most of those songs are about strippers right now. That's a long trend been going on for the last couple of years. All the rap, go to 101.1 right now, and 75% chance a song about stripping is on there.
Oh, well, it is party music, but it's like
God,
there's
it's so god awful though,
it's
man.
so bad, and it's so easy to make too. Anyone can make the basics of those instrumentals.
Every now and again, though, there's
Something that grabs
good.
you. Yeah.
Something good.
But right now it's been a dry spell for me, at least. It's been a dry spell of something like, oh, that was cool, guys. This guy brought a good metaphor. I'm like, oh man,
That's cool.
Like eating pussy like Pop-Tarts. That kind of phrase. I love phrases in rap songs.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
As a man, some of the just lyrics, you're talking about lyrics.
Yeah.
As lyricists, some of these guys that have songs out right now are fantastic with that kind of crap, man.
Right.
Like
Wordplay.
if we're talking about technicality stuff,
Right.
some of these guys are really good, but I don't know, it's something about the overall product that doesn't really work.
Yeah.
Like I can see Kendrick Lamar coming up. He's gonna kill it.
There was one dude that put out a few songs I thought was good, but I don't recall what his name is now. I mean, they're all the same, really.
Because Yellow Wolf kind of dropped the ball in my eyes. I know a lot of people still like Yellow Wolf, but to me, he never brought the Thunder Muffin. He never brought the.
You want to talk
Thunder.
about a saturated market, guys?
Shit.
That's saturated as fuck. There's so much rap and hip hop that wow, man. Because I guess because the access to the software and a lot of street culture still exists, so there's always going to be a dude coming up and stuff. But.
See, and I listen to, like, Pandora is my primary source of music entertainment right now.
It's there,
It's kind of like the all music guide radio because it just hooks you up.
There's no modern rap on there, but there are 2 or 3 old school rap stations that I like and thoroughly enjoy listening to. So, I'm still listening to that early 90s type crap.
Country is about done, man. I think
Country
it's
about done?
I'm talking about there's still someone's still making money in country music, and it's not Taylor Swift.
Well, country is just all pop now, because the reality of it is, back when Hank was doing and everything, they were cowboys and they were rebels, and they lived hard lives.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the reality is the rednecks are out in the woods and they're just having a good time, man.
Right.
They're out on the boats and having a blast.
They're getting drunk on a plane, dude.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they're going to sing about. So I'm not knocking them for that.
I'm just not interested.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Things will be the same.
That's what they're doing.
So all the country songs are party anthems, and that's just because that is what happens now. They don't have problems no more, man.
I know no one beats their wives anymore.
No, these kids don't have any problems.
I know it's like, oh man, my iPhone is not charged in the woods. Oh fuck, here's a song.
What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
There's a song right there, man.
Yeah. iPhone's gone in the woods. Yeah, then
it's on a Friday and you're on a dirt road with your iPhone. It's dead.
Yeah, rock it out. Do it to death.
There was at least 3 songs I heard on that award ceremony.
We're supposed to be doing a song.
DJ, turn it up.
No, man. The country
I
song.
got some whiskey in my cup.
There you go. Yeah,
See?
okay.
I thought it'd be
My
more
truck
like, I
is
got
broke.
a Bud Light Platinum on a dirt road. My iPhone is broke. I don't know where to go.
Man, that probably is a song.
It is a fucking song, dude.
I was fucking moving.
I like how specific. It was a Bud Light Platinum.
Oh, dude,
Bud Light. It's available here.
Sure, in the videos they're promoting something.
Oh yeah, we was promoting fucking Citrus Drop and
early.
That didn't exist.
yeah.
Gower's Milk. Hey, what's the story behind Gower's
That's
Milk?
actually that's a drugstore.
Yes, okay, thank you. Dude, every time I go to work, I pass Gower's drugstore.
All the way along
Yeah.
the Luling, right? Yes, it's there.
And like, I was thinking, is that Gower's Milk?
Right beside the IGA, dude, yes.
Sure enough.
That is Gower's Milk.
Yeah. Yep. The second thing we ever filmed after Philip playing a homeless guy.
Okay, for everyone who doesn't know, Gower's Milk is just part of a ridiculous sketch from way back.
It's pretty ridiculous.
No one's even listening anymore at this point.
Oh, surely to God, we mentioned butts.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of titty fucking and vagina nipples everywhere.
Yeah, I didn't think vagina nipples were ripe this season, but they are.
Yeah,
Jeez.
but
You know, they actually smell a lot nicer.
they're
than what they
there,
look.
and the Gower's milk joke is that was the second thing. It still has a date stamp on the corner,
Yeah.
and we just put a camera in front of fucking Philip, and there it was, a gallon of milk and a Philip Morgan. And here's something fucking hilarious.
Because
That's
what he
happens.
was doing was he's actually just really getting some milk to cookies, and he just said record.
Just record this.
Yeah. And he
Man.
spits it out in the sink.
And I'd like to. I mean, are we gonna keep going? Guys want to talk about some more? Have we went too far? I mean, I don't know.
I don't think we ever went far
What's the
enough.
time frame here?
We're pretty close, man. We're pretty close to it now. We are.
So, what have we learned in this retrospective, man? What have we learned? How do you guys? What are you guys taking away from this talk?
Hopefully, is that we're cool, sexy, eccentric, intelligent types, and very cool people.
I want to take away from is that we are very cool and unique people that were privileged to do what we did in our lives.
We're so totally awesome.
No, it's just cool. It's like a lot of people can't say what we did. We did it. We did it, and we could still do it.
I think it's just cool amongst ourselves to just reflect on the fact that we did do it and it was cool.
I'm not gonna stroke my cock as hard as you two have had, but
We're the greatest ever.
like, what have we learned from this podcast? We're the best people ever in the world.
Duh. Shit. Get that out of the
No,
way.
man. This is
Yeah.
something. Recently I've been trying. The last few years of my life have been more input oriented. And more reclusive.
That's fine.
Less actually accomplishing things and more type of just learning about things, and more structure. And man, talking about this stuff and reminiscing about these times and looking back on the person I was before, totally immature. A lot of things needed to be learned and whatnot.
Right.
But it's time for me to enter that third stage of cultivation of what I was talking about. That's what I'm trying to do, man. I'm trying to go back to an output-oriented frame of mind, and
You
just,
should.
and just start going for it in whatever it is I'm doing, and I guess that's my takeaway, man.
We want to hear more Bret guitar music. I think a lot of people do. They want to hear your
Dude,
guitar.
I'd have to relearn how to play poorly or something.
Well, it might be a completely different approach. Just like when you first started playing, you went from me showing you The Roof is on Fire to
Yeah, that's the first song.
to these Mars Volta, Trey Spruance type inspired Primus, Larry,
Yeah,
Larry Lalonde.
Larry Lalonde, Dave from the band, Sonny Sherrock.
definitely Sonny Sherrock on Bon
Um,
Jovi for sure.
You named another. Trey Spruance, yeah, of course.
Yeah, like
It's,
so you might come into it completely different. You might be like, oh, what the hell? It's like Brazilian flamenco guitar now. It's like, what the
Which-
hell's going on?
which is
What
perfectly
happened?
fun.
I'd like to learn flamenco.
Dude, you should play with your fingertips.
See, that's the thing, man. I get so hardcore about stuff. If I start playing again, I'm going. I want to like try and do that.
You have to wear this big fucking sheriff's hat.
it's in studio
Right.
here, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
huge.
It's
I better put it on now that we're concluding the podcast.
Yeah, probably
how
you get a
wide
picture
would you
of that
say
with it
that
on.
is? How wide would you say that is, Case?
Looks like every bit of probably at least maybe 2 foot, two foot.
All right, we're dealing with a
2 feet high. It's a foam novelty sheriff's hat.
Mhm.
It's it sits well. We're gonna take a photo
brown
of
with
this.
red trim.
It's
we're gonna
it's got a star on it. It's missing two
gonna-
sides
We're
to
gonna post
it. there.
that as probably the Oddcast photo, which would be brilliant. But this has been the Stiff Oddcast with Bret MC Dewell, a Stiff original member. I guess the parting words I have to say about this is Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, we never even got around to talking about Godzilla Force.